According to a 2018 study in Nigeria, 48% of employees say they have been bullied and harassed. Another 51% claim that they have witnessed harassment and bullying in the workplace. All 722 participants agreed that these factors and more indeed make the workplace toxic for them. I am Bisola Aiyeola, and on today's fan edition of Real Talk, I'll be speaking to some interesting people about workplace toxicity and more. Let's do this. Hello, Kassie.
Hi, Bisola.
Hello, Victoria.
Hi, Bisola.
Hello, Gure.
How are you guys?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for taking out time out of your very busy schedules, money-making time to be here with me on Real Talk.
It's an honor.
Thank you. You are making me to be blushing. Stop it. All right, so today we're going to be talking workplace toxicity. Kassie, what do you do?
Okay, so I do facility and project management.
Facility and project management.
Yes.
Judy, what about you?
People and organization consultant.
And what about you?
I'm a marketer and content creator.
You're a marketer. Where are you from, Victoria?
Okay, I literally have to explain myself almost every single day.
I can imagine.
Are you from Kenya? And I'm like, no. Okay, so my parents are originally from Nigeria, but they moved to Namibia down south 30 years ago. So I was born and raised and recently just relocated.
Back to Nigeria?
Back, yes.
Interesting. So what part of Nigeria are you from?
Kaduna State. I'm a Hausa girl.
Can you speak Hausa?
Yes, my parents made me learn. Like, I come back from school and they're like, sit down. All right, so... I don't know what waka shege means at this point. That's fine. Can I say that on TV?
It's fine.
Yes. Yes, I know all of that.
You know all of that?
Yes.
Lovely. And so you're a marketer?
Yes.
All right, great stuff. I want to ask, how would you describe workplace toxicity? A toxic workplace. Let me remove that toxicity before we start biting our tongue. How would you describe a toxic workplace, Kassie?
Okay, to me, a toxic workplace is somewhere you are not free to do your work properly. Before you go to work, you have anxiety, you are at work, and you can't just wait to get out of here. Like, oh, is it 5 years? Is it 5 years? They're just not giving you space for you to be you, express yourself, do your work, and just go. Yes.
What about you, Judy? HR.
So, talking about work, a toxic workplace, I think I'll talk about it from three perspectives. I'll talk about it from the organizational perspective. When you look at the work environment, the space you have to work in, when you look at the people, when you look at, most importantly, the culture. There's a popular saying in the business environment, culture, it's strategy for breakfast. So that's from the organizational point of view. And then you can talk about it from the team point of view, the people you have to work with daily. Would you wake up to work with? Would you have to work with on a daily basis? And then as an individual. Sometimes people are even in a toxic workplace by themselves, which is not instigated by either the organization or their manager because they don't want to be where they are. So these three elements for me will constitute what a toxic workplace is. So the impact of that, whether from the organizational point of view or from the team or from the individual point of view, is that you are disengaged from your work. Other signs that may come out from that is depression and all of that, which are just signs from the symptoms of that workplace. So generally, is being in a place where you don't want to be. I'm just putting it in that simple terms.
Victoria, have you ever worked in a toxic place?
This topic is a little too personal for me.
Are you serious? Okay.
It really is. I've worked in that type of an environment. And the point that I would give is narcissistic leadership. That is definitely something I do not like. Okay, what I mean by it is your boss is all about himself and his company, and that's at the expense of his employees. Okay. So that already creates a very toxic workplace.
Give us small example. I want to know what this boss did.
Okay.
That you said it feels very personal.
You know the show Revenge Body with Chloe? So this
Yes.
is my revenge time. Yes, no. Okay, so it's normal, Monday to Friday work, 8 to 5, 6 sometimes. If you stay an extra hour, it's okay, it's normal. But this guy would literally call us in on Saturdays and Sundays at 9 at night sometimes a minute. I remember he called us around 11 and he wasn't even asking, like, you need our help and you're not supposed to disturb us. He was like, I need you guys to come to the office.
Was this in Nigeria?
No, that was in Namibia. He's like, I need you guys to come to the office. And I'm like, okay, why? Why am I coming to the office? He's like, funny thing is, this guy was as corrupt as they get. Like, he was trying to get away with paying taxes, not paying rent and whatnot. So the bank came on Saturday morning and cleared out some of the stuff. So he wanted to quickly clear out what was left before they come back on Monday. So he needed the manpower. So then he calls us and he's like, I need you guys to come to the office. And I'm like, why are you calling me at this time? He's like, are you going to come or not? I'm like, no, it's 11 and I have school tomorrow. He's like, well, if you do not come, don't expect to find a job here tomorrow. I'm like, excuse me. And I do not work well with ultimatums. Whether your boss, lover, friend, don't do that. So I didn't end up going. And then I refused to go to work the following Monday. So once he moved everything to a new space, he calls on Thursday and he's like, would you think you'll be able to come into the office so we can discuss, I used to manage clients as well for the business. He's like, a client wants to have an event and the client is requesting for you. So I get to the office. The client wasn't requesting for me. He just needed me.
Needed you to be in
I'm
there.
like, this man.
Did he ever owe salaries or anything like that?
Yes, my salary. Of course. Imagine if he's trying to evade the bank. He will evade you too. My salary would, you'd see this man spending money recklessly.
Of course.
And you ask for your salary and he's like, no, the business is
It's not doing so
suffering, blah, blah,
We
blah.
are buying
blah.
Range
But
Rover.
then when you ask him, when the business needs something, you're like, I need money for this. He will take out like a bundle and be like, okay, go get this. And you're like, but my salary.
Like, what's going on?
It was horrible.
Crazy.
Like the worst year and a half of my life. And what I still don't understand how I ended up staying that long. Like it's maybe I was desperate.
How long ago was this?
2019 into 2022. Like I was desperate. I must have been desperate.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But I stayed for the experience.
For the experience.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced terrible workplace?
I don't have chill pill. So if I work somewhere and 3-4 weeks into it, I'm like, it's like, people are not serious. I just carry my bag and I just go.
Stop.
I'm serious.
No, it's from a reality check point of view. So, if you're from a rich family, you can easily do that because there's a roof over your head and, mommy and daddy are there.
It wasn't difficult finding a job.
But
anyway,
man,
right?
if you have to hustle for yourself, man, if the job is not making sense, it's a bit difficult to just carry your bag and
just leave.
If you leave it to the
have you done this a
Okay, so
number
this
of
happened
times?
just once.
Just once.
Yes.
And why did you just up and leave?
Okay, so I was PA to this woman and she was just nasty. So, sorry, I was EA. So she was mixing EA and PA. And how will I be doing market ones for you? I finished school. I have experience. I already had 3 years experience.
As an EA?
No.
Okay.
FM. So I didn't get something. So I'm like, okay, this EA
Just do
opportunity.
this
Let
for
me
a
just
bit.
do this for the bit. And female and big woman and everything. So I'm thinking, okay, it would be nice to work with this woman, learn
Get
from her, and get experience and everything.
Women supporting women.
Thank you. I'm like, feminist. And
But you are supporting her by going to the market.
she don't kill me, please. She now buy list. She now say, you buy pepper. You now buy fish. That's not really the worst part. You now carry. The office was at. The office was on the mainland.
Okay.
I stay on the island. So I now come to work in the morning, and this woman has dropped list already. So she sends her driver in. So when you come here, you just see the driver, just give you the list, and I'm like, I cannot be buying pepper, man.
You became a house help.
She will not expect you to go with the driver again, go with the driver, buy everything, then bring it to her house and drop it for the house girl. Then go back to work and go and do your normal job.
So you adjust your blouse and then...
You remove the apron and then wear the suit.
Look at me.
Oh my goodness. And how long did you work? So this was the
I
time?
think for a month.
Just a month?
Yes.
Wow.
Just
All right.
no, I can't do
With
this.
that, okay, so you can give her some...
Back to how toxic workplace happens. For you now, it was good that you were able to live in 1 month. that one out, I won't spend 2 days. Like literally, you know. But then from the very onset when I started working, it was for me create a plan in a way that you can have the freedom to walk away from any workplace that doesn't make sense to you. How did I do that? I was saving massively. I was saving about like 70% of my salary monthly.
Interesting.
Because I knew I needed to have that safe haven where, you know, and then that helped me because at some point at my job, I could tell my boss what I really think without being scared of losing my job because I know that
Because you had safety.
because I had safety. But a lot of people don't do that because they're spending.
You have to go to W bar now. Let me see this.
No, so I had
That's where you
to.
always spend your money. Soft life.
Soft life. But then when I started, life wasn't so soft. Like life wasn't so soft. So I would take with my suits. The first set of suit that I wore, man, they've changed color. Because sun,
shoulder.
Like
Ashy.
you see the mark here, like it's
The
clear that the
ironing
color
as well.
between this and this is
one
completely
is
different. But now I'm enjoying that freedom because
Yes.
if I get into any workplace, I'm not scared to say, you know what? I think even this month, I just took a month off to say I'm not working and then just rest.
I have worked in an organization where my boss wasn't the nicest, but did I learn a lot? Definitely. I was kind of thrown into the deep end. And there were instances where my boss knew that my boss was mean to myself and my colleagues and would just call you up over the weekend and say, oh, what are you having? Let's go have dinner. Oh, does your daughter need anything? Let me just throw this in here and there. So it almost, it felt really, I felt like I was in an abusive relationship. Then it got to a stage and a time where just waking up was a problem. From sleep, if I just heard my phone vibrate, even if it was just a notification from social media, palpitations, you know, I lost a ton of weight. And I think in total, even including training, I probably didn't stay there for up to a year, about 10 months.
Wow.
About 10 months. But did I learn a lot? Definitely. Now, some people would say an organization is toxic if they are lazy people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because we always have situations like that. You know, I've had conversations with people and they're like, oh, this person is nasty. And then when I can't work well with this person, but when I get to meet them and we're actually working, I'm like, oh, you're actually really pleasant. So it could also be that you have, because now you've talked when you were describing a toxic workplace, from your team players, from
team,
the
and then individuals.
Now, what about the individuals can be toxic, but they don't see that about
They
themselves.
don't. I was thinking about something yesterday into this morning, and I was like, you have about 300 people that, for example, an MD is responsible for, and he gets to be responsible for the 300 of them. But 300 of them just see him. And so they have their individual opinion about how good or bad or whatever he is. And it's very subject to their own perspective about who he is or who he is not. And so it's very easy for individuals to say that MD is terrible because uneasy lies the other way the crown. But he has to be responsible for over 300 people, right? So it's and that's why I said it will be very myopic to look at workplace toxicity from just one person's point of view. You have to look at it from the manager's point of view because the head might be doing well, but the person directly that you're responsible. There's an idea that says people don't leave workplace; they leave their managers, right, and then organization. But there are ways organization can actually protect people. So if you look at things like performance management framework, when you have a clarity on what your job role is.
Yes.
A lot of people are in jobs that they don't know what their roles are. It's whatever their boss tells them. And that means that at the end of the year when assessment is to be done, is what the boss says at the round table that goes. But if performance management is clearly defined, goals are clearly defined, if you say that I need you to get to Ibadan in 2 hours, if I get to Ibadan in 2 hours, it doesn't matter whether you like me or not. The goal was get to Ibadan in 2 hours. That's why you employed me. I got there in 2 hours, give me what I deserve. But if they just say, come, you'll be traveling, and in throughout the year, they don't tell you where you're traveling to. And at the end of the year, they say you didn't get to the destination. Bro, you didn't tell me what the destination was. So a lot of companies don't have proper performance management framework, especially the one-man business. The man is thinking on the go, he's thinking as he's going. He's communicating what he needs. And tomorrow, he might feel like his market he wants you to go to, and that becomes your job description. No shade.
Plenty shades today. Plenty.
So a lot of, and there's a lot of questions about why do we need HR? But the truth is, to put this frameworks in place, to put this processing is in place, you need a proper HR person in place. And sometimes you have HR person, you don't even listen to them. You just need HR to do what you want them to do, hire and fire. So it's a whole lot of performance management framework training. I can clearly tell you what to do, but if I'm not defining how you should do it, I'm also not giving you the tools to do it. So I was giving another example. If I tell you to do a research, you tell me to do a research, and I give you a book, and you give me a laptop with internet, and then you want to measure me on the same thing.
No, you can't.
You're already putting her at disadvantage.
Yeah.
So it's a lot talking about workplace accessibility, but also from the individual point of view. You took a job just because you want the money. And then they come in and say this is what you're supposed to do. And like, nah, they don't want to allow me rest. They want to distribute. Laziness. So it's always good to look at it from that point of view, but also look at it from the individual point of view, because when you're bringing them in, it's your responsibility as HR to ensure that you look at your culture, look at their culture, and see if it's aligned.
I know a few people that are genuinely good human beings, and then the employees take advantage of them.
Standard.
That's another thing.
Now,
Happens
how that is also toxic.
Yeah.
In that sense, because you're a fantastic human being, but you keep employing staff who think they can take advantage of you and decide that, you know what's the worst that you can do? I'll just walk out of your establishment, and then you're left stranded.
That's right.
How can you avoid this?
So I usually say this, that one of the very important example is why is, let me call it on a macro stage now, why is a country like, let's say, Canada, for example, working, and maybe some aspect of Nigeria is not working. Let's say, for example, people taking one way, and then those same people go to Canada and they don't take one way. Simple system.
Yes. Yeah,
System. So a lot of people don't know that if you are disobeying traffic laws around Ikeja, let me tell them now, there are cameras taking picture of your plate number, and they are charging you, for each offense. So next time you maybe go and renew your vehicle license, they tell you are owing 5,000.
Stop. It's actually needed. Yes. It's needed.
But we do.
It's needed.
That's a system, and automatically you fall in line.
Of course.
Nobody's chasing your car. Nobody's wearing yellow and chasing your car.
Climbing on your bonnet.
Nobody's doing that.
Trying to
It's
hit your side
system,
mirror.
right? And you know that once you do this is the repercussion of that.
Yeah.
It's the same way in organization. If you have systems in place, they are the first level of defense. Right? And when I mean systems, how do you recruit people? How do you manage performance? How do you engage? What kind of communication goes out? When does it go out? You know, all of these things are what successful organizations have put in place to a large extent. However, that's why if you look at the ranking of the top skills in 2021, 2020, you are beginning to see people-related skills. Yeah, technology skills, but people-related skills. Because in the nearest future, it will not be about what you can do, it will be about how you can manage people to do things.
Kassie, let me ask you this. You've worked with men and women, right?
Yes.
Male and female bosses.
Bisola is going there. Bisola is going there. Bisola is going there.
I'm asking everybody. I'm asking everyone. Now, you've told us about your female boss who turned you to her nanny, cook, market runner, and all. But you've worked with male and female bosses, right?
Yes.
Who would you say is best person to work with, male or female? I know we are in an age where women supporting women, you know, it doesn't always really play out that way. Unfortunately.
Personally.
But to the women, I know that in any organization, women have to put in double.
Yes.
For anything, even not as a boss, self, or you know, you always have to put in more. So somehow there's extra pressure on them to deliver. But now have that in mind when you are telling us who you'd rather work with.
Personally, Bisola, I'd rather work with a male boss.
Why? Just one example. Why? Or one instance.
I hope your boss is not watching this.
Is your boss male or female?
Male.
Okay. Your salary is safe, yeah?
You're getting a bonus end of this month.
Yes. I just think they make it easier for me to work. So I've had bad experience. Okay, so personally, I've had bad experience with female bosses. Even and my best friend, she just left a very toxic work environment, and this was a female boss. So it's just, I don't know, it clouds my judge. You hear stories like this, you see things like this online, and like, why always you people? And as much as I want to do girls supporting girls, women supporting women, this is real life. This is somebody's experience. This is my experience. This is other people's experience. I have never had issue with a male boss. Yes, personally. Yes.
Wait, Bisola, just to add on what you said, as Black women all around the world, in whatever you do, you feel the need to exceed. Like, you set a standard for yourself, or society alone has set a standard for yourself.
You, true.
So you always try to go above and beyond. Even if it's just cleaning the kitchen, my sink must be shiny. Exactly.
Yes.
So I feel like with female bosses, they project a lot of what the high standard they expect.
Yes,
they project it on you. And then you feel that pressure.
Yes,
so that's where
yes.
the friction now starts, because you're like, okay, why is she expecting this from me?
From me,
I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, but she expects you
when
to
I was your age, I was already doing this and everything. I'm like,
there's no need for
wow.
I'm sorry. There's no need for this.
Exactly.
Yes.
I've had a boss tell me that you think you're beautiful?
Wow.
And I'm like, what has
got
that got to
personal?
do? Yeah, like, what has that got to
personal.
do? Do you think you're beautiful? What makes you think? Why?
I think a lot of bosses will start to attack your personality.
Exactly.
A lot of people leave some companies. They have self-doubt. They start to question themselves, second guess themselves. I always tell people that once you start they start to have, it's usually anxiety attack, where you get into a place.
Sunday nights like this, once I get that invitation, Monday morning meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Like, why?
Time to move.
move.
So, Victoria, who would you rather work with, male or female bosses?
Honestly, I would rather work. This is now the mild feminist side of me speaking. I would actually honestly work with a female boss. Or maybe it's because I've had this horrible experience with male bosses in the past. But I don't want to build like a stereotype of all men like that. But personally, preference, female.
What about you, Judy?
Well, I've had all the experience, but I think my recent experience was the male boss, and it was amazing. But then in consulting, you work with different bosses. And I think I'll just stick with male boss, man.
Male boss.
Male bosses. They don't have too many complications. I know that they will come for me. What do I mean by that? I know, but I think it was just much easier. Like, we could stay on work. You didn't have to get personal in any way or any form.
Just do your work and go.
And then there is this. I don't say unsafety. Like, a woman will feel like you're trying to question her authority.
Oh yeah,
because she feels like because she's a woman, you are not taking her instruction like that. And sometimes it might not be the case, but there's that bit of insecurity, as you talked about, breaking glass ceiling. So they want to assert themselves more, and in those situations, that causes that friction. So, for example, and then the personality of that person also matters. So, if the person is choleric and is a woman, and you're also choleric as so when you're trying to share your idea, it might feel like you're trying to be defensive, and they want to assert that I'm the boss here, even if I'm a lady, I'm the boss. So I'd rather avoid that. Let's just stick to the work. I know you're the boss, but let's stick to the work.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask first individually, and then you would also answer this individually and also from the professional point of view. But let me start with you, Kassie. You going into an organization, how do you identify and know that this space is toxic and I need to move?
Okay.
Aside going to buy pepper.
This will definitely be a story to tell.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so the work culture. So I've noticed that workplaces where they go on a first name basis, there's no Mr., there's no Mrs., there's no, that false respect is not there. I've noticed that the work culture is nicer. So it's easy for you to tell this person, even though this person is like 2 or 3 cadets above you, like, I think this is wrong. We should do this like this. We should do this like this. It's easier that way. And also, okay, so your closing is 5. Then 5:30, you're carrying your bag, and they're looking at you that, and I'm like, cool, that kind of thing. So I think it's more popular with one-man businesses. They do that a lot.
Very common.
What else? Yeah.
That's it. All right, great. Thank you very much. Victoria, how do you identify toxic workspace?
Okay, for me, I would actually start from the hiring process. Something I've noticed from the interviews I've had, the moment you walk in there and everyone is so stuck-upish or uptight, very dismissive, like they'll ask you a question, you won't even finish answering the question, they already ask you the second one, like that dismissive nature, that you should already know, okay.
Red flag.
But then obviously you're thinking, okay, I'm interviewing for the job, so they're probably trying to be tough on me to see if I'll break. So let's say I get the job, places where overwork is glorified is toxic to me. Like I work from a certain time to another, to like let's say 8 to 5. I promise to give you my 110
in that hours.
Within those hours.
Yes.
But now when you make overworking like 3 hours after I'm supposed to knock off, when you glorify it and make it look like it's normal, they would have a problem.
Which is fine. If it's once in a while.
Yeah, once
but when
in a while.
It becomes an everyday thing.
Exactly,
And
it becomes a problem.
You're not even being paid overtime.
Yes.
Thank you. You're not being paid overtime. A place with where there's no work-life balance, that's already toxic in itself for me. What else would I say? Cliques. I'm not even targeting the managerial bodies or the bosses, but cliques, we ourselves can be the problem.
Level,
because now, okay, Kassie and I, and
Bisola Aiyeola,
okay.
click.
No, yes, you guys have a clique, or let's say the 3 of us are a clique. You're coming in. Obviously, the employees are the driving force of the company, so you would expect us to welcome you in so that we can get productivity at maximum. But now you come in, well, like
they've iced you out.
You don't even know where to start. We're supposed to like induct you into the business, and everyone is just minding their business. Like that already is very toxic for me because I don't think it gets better.
So now let me come to you, Monsieur Jide.
So
personally, and then.
Personally, so a lot of my friends say I'm a workaholic, so I don't think giving me long hours of work, maybe because how I started out my career, so working long hours for me is not a problem, but for some people it would be. But for me, toxic workplace would be a place where I can express myself, right? I want to work, I want to study and apply myself. But if you're not shutting me down, that's the biggest thing for me. Because when I'm in a place, I'm thinking like an entrepreneur. Like I'm not owning my business, but I'm thinking like that. So I want to bring up ideas. When you're shutting me down without even listening to me, that's already toxic for me. So why am I even putting in the effort? So that's toxic for me. What else? If I'm not getting what I deserve, if I put in the work and at the end of the year, you're telling me maybe I'm not visible enough. Some companies do that at the end of performance months where you're supposed to get maybe your double promotion. They tell you you're not visible. And what does visible mean? Like, you know,
am I doing my work or not?
Am I doing my work or not? You know, so, and I've left companies for that after complaining that.
And that's why people do eye service. So you're not doing...
That's what encourages eye service. If
you're not doing what you're supposed to do, but you're in the boss's face.
Exactly. That's because...
So
the ass.
That's
the person that is doing all the work
is not getting the reward. So for me, that's a toxic environment. By putting all the work...
It's very discouraging also.
And I've seen people actually lose engagement to that way because they just say, I'll just do the barest minimum in my salary and then go. For me, those two things... Don't cut me up. I want to express myself. I'm in the workplace. I want to express myself in that work. And then 2, when I do express myself and achieve results, please reward me properly. Make my bonus. Let it reflect that I've worked. So but in terms of managing workplaces, there's some things that as HR you can do. For example, when you come into a workplace, there should be a body system. The body system says you are responsible for this person coming in. Show the person around, blah, blah, blah. And you would give a report at the end of maybe 1 or 3 months to say what your experience has been with that body. And you rate that body. And if I rate you well, maybe 5 over 5, you get a bonus for that. If I don't rate you well. So that
everyone is encouraged.
That increases accountability. So she might be the one that will then link you up with the other 2 and then you're able to integrate well. Aside that, you're supposed to have like a coach or a mentor, maybe at a manager level that also helps you settle into the company. So those are ways to actually manage integration into the company. And then the thing, a lot of companies ignore how much work is required to be done in terms of culture. The little things matter. You talked about first name basis. And some companies where you have to say Mr., Esa, Esma. That already creates that distance. People don't know that.
That gap is already there.
Exactly. So in terms of that, and then there's something called the open door policy where I can just, in short, in some offices there's no wall. The manager may have something. My ministry is simple, and then there's no distance. You don't create that. But all of this comes with organizational structure, how you create your reporting lines? Is it that flat or is very? So the systems and processes you put in your organization either encourages good culture or encourages a bad one. But that's why you need people that actually spend their time understanding how, your workplace, your work environment, people, policies actually affect employee psychology. And the companies that are actually getting it right are the ones that actually value the service of a professional HR person.
That is so important to get a professional HR. It's not just hiring and firing. There's so much in between.
Some people just employ anybody and say, she is HR, I fire.
Or the boss alone will be like, I have enough life experience, so I'm fine. Then that's where the stories of when I was younger.
And I was like, this was 20 years ago, sir.
Exactly.
Nobody does that.
Times have changed.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk preferential treatments. Have you ever experienced it? Have you ever been the boss's favorite? Have you ever been the one that has been, tribalism in the workplace, stuff like that? Have you ever experienced it positively and negatively?
Okay, with where I've worked before, you'd be the favorite for like 5 seconds if you get the job done. You'd be the favorite for like 5 seconds. Like once you do what he wants, they'll be like, well done. But then he would take credit for it. So it was basically him thanking me, but then
Isn't it
to everyone.
your narcissistic boss?
I have not moved on. I'm venting. I am venting. Yes, so for 5 seconds. I would not say I was one of the favorites in the company because one thing my parents did was, being Nigerian but growing up in Namibia, I felt a little segregation alone, already. You find people that are welcoming, but they're like, but you're foreign. But I'm like, I was born here, how am I foreign? So I already experienced that as a child. So one thing my parents made me, taught or put in me was always speak up. Never be the quiet person. And obviously I'm respectful, so I know how to speak up and how to go about it. So at work, he was the worst. So I would speak up occasionally. If he challenges me, I would challenge him back because I'm like, fine, you're older than me and all, I respect you on that level, but then don't degrade me, do not make me feel a certain type of way. So everyone else would be so quiet and submissive and all right, sir. And I'm like, no, you cannot speak to me like that. It is not right. You asked me to do this. So I would not say I was the favorite, but I did get the job done. So you couldn't fire me. I left. I left. I really left. You know how I even left? December 2020, I came. Was it 2020 or 2019? Yeah, when I left, I came to Nigeria for holiday. So in an email, the day I flew from Namibia, I wrote an email and sent it to him and I'm like, deuces. Peace out. I'm gone.
All right, Kassie, preferential treatment at work. Have you ever experienced it? Positive, negative?
I think positive.
She likes it. Positive.
Okay, so I am a go-getter. I want something, I go after it. I know, and because of the nature of my work, I put in longer hours. So you can call me 11, you can call me 1. This last weekend, I've had a client call me 12. I know, Kassie, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, tomorrow morning I'll get it done. So when this report gets back to my boss, when it gets to senior management, of course, Kassie is a star employee. So
it works out for you.
Yes, it works for me.
It works for you. What about you, Judy?
So I've actually experienced both. I've experienced being.
So you share both.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think in my former job, because I'm going into a new job now, for me, if I'm your favorite, I should get the rewards, the double promotions, all that. So whoever is getting double promotion is your favorite.
Yes.
And then there are certain conversations I will have with you to say, what is it that I'm not doing right? I should be doing right because I want to get this double promotion that you're giving people. So I think in that stead, I felt like it wasn't about the work because I like, Judy, in the work and the ratings you're getting 5, you're getting 4, I'm not getting reward. So it was just like, you like this particular person, but I couldn't understand why. For things like start talking about visibility. And for me, I translated that visibility to kissing her. So I said this. So yeah, I've experienced it in my first job. But in my second job, I think for me, why I knew I was his favorite was because he recognized the work I was doing. He appreciated my ideas, he appreciated my opinions, and then he also rewarded me for it. Even the MD in this company I'm living now would actually allow me to do more things beyond what, I'll share ideas with you. I'm like, oh, this is brilliant. And that made me feel valuable within that company. So yeah,
But sorry,
Yeah.
should that not be standard? Why do you need to attribute that to being the favorite?
Yeah.
Is that not like standard?
The truth is not everybody's ready to do that. Some people are just ready to just do the barest minimum, and by 4, they're leaving. When I joined this company, sometimes, as I said, I'm a workaholic, so I wasn't doing it because I wanted everybody to see me, but you give me stuff and you can be sure that I'll get it done in good time.
reliable.
So by 9 p.m. you still see me at the office and all the security guys are like, Oga, what's happened? You know? But I was enjoying it as long as it was appreciated. Did you get? But the other company, I was doing the same amount of work.
Yeah, but it was
it
going
wasn't.
unnoticed.
It was
You were
going
not
unnoticed.
visible.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't visible, you know. And then some other managers was taking the glory for it. And that was one thing I promised myself, that whenever I have junior staffs working with me, whenever they do a work, whenever I'm sending it to the boss, I must always say,
This person.
Give credit to
Bisola,
it
thank
too.
you for putting this together. And I made it a culture.
Okay.
You know, and I learned from where I was coming from. And even with that, I still had some gaps based on the feedback I got from my team on things I need to improve on. A lot of times it's very easy for us to say this boss is not good, but are we also checking ourselves? Because you are bosses to few
Exactly.
people.
Exactly.
Are you actually checking yourself to ensure that you're also better for the people coming behind? But some people, they want to give that same fire. It's like in boarding house. When in SS2, SS3, when you're in just just they punished you. When you're in SS2, you're like, you know, I shit, they father.
Yes.
When you get to SS2, SS3, you want to punish. Everybody must feel the fire that you feel. But that's not it. We should break that cycle.
Yeah.
Whatever they've done to you that you didn't like, identify them and try to do better with the people coming behind you.
All right, guys, this has been really, really interesting chatting with you, hearing your experiences, and also learning. Hopefully, one day we too will have employees and we'll know how to treat
So you're
them.
already a boss now.
I know.
We know these things.
I'm
We
a
know
worker.
these
I'm
things.
a boss.
Please now.
Not employer.
Every boss has his own boss.
I'm a boss.
I'm a boss.
I'm a boss.
Bosses.
Yes.
Yes, that's me.
I am a boss.
And I'll be a good one. I won't send them to buy.
I will not hear that.
Except that's in the job description.
Except that.
Yeah. But if they
Except
start a
that.
hashtag Pepe Girl.
Don't give them ideas.
Hashtag Pepe Girl.
No, she's too sweet now. Fine lashes, fine smile. You know, imagine her looking this sweet
In the market.
and just getting to the office and
market.
seeing Madam's driver with list. Bokoto.
In error.
I want to make Ayama shake this.
And she'll have dressed well. You know it's Monday. She'll have dressed well.
Imagine on a
Like,
Monday.
wow.
She's actually
She's
You know what I'm saying, Pat? I don't even go to the market for myself.
she's there busy pricing. Pricing
And so, for
your
instance, you on a normal day, you don't even go to the market.
Care for yourself. Wow.
Dear.
And you know, Monday
I would
morning,
have left on
like,
your behalf. I would have left on your behalf.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Kassie. Thank you so much, Victoria. Thank you so much, Jide. Any final words on workplace toxicity?
okay, I think the most important thing is we need to be kinder to each other. Also, cliques, because I don't think we talked about it enough. So it plays a very vital role in how other people see the workplace. If they can say that the workplace culture is toxic, if you look into it, it's like, okay, this person and this person. Because when you're a clique, you're gossiping, you're talking bad about this person. The other person, other people are feeling excluded from this group. So things are happening, and you guys are the first set of people to know. And and every other person, we just hear it as maybe rumor or just.
But what if having those cliques is the best way an individual will perform in an organization?
How?
It's for their mental health.
What about my mental health?
Join the clique.
Why are you excluding me?
Maybe because you're
You don't
annoying.
fit into
Yeah, you don't fit in. What
No,
if you're the toxic person that wants to go join that?
So that means
The problem is not you, it's them.
So yeah. Also, I think it's also important for the organization, for the employers to hire professionals, HR professionals, get people that can do their work done. And it's just not hiring and firing. We know that you have experience. You know that you've been doing this for a while. But these people are the ones in the market today, labor market today. They know what is happening. They've taken courses, they've taken seminars and everything. Let them do their work. Give them space. Let them do them. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you so much, Victoria.
All right. I will take this from a more personal angle. Speaking on behalf of employees and managers, as you know, I'm a future boss.
Yes,
I'm putting it out in the world.
Yes.
Yes. I will repeat what you said, be kind. Self-reflection is very important. As a normal person, you already think that, yeah, I'm trying my best, but then there's always something that you could improve on and do better, in your managerial position or as an employee. Another thing is take your mental health seriously. I can't press this enough. The rate of suicide in Namibia is crazy, so it's something I've been passionate about for years. If it's breaking you down, and the moment you feel something is breaking you down, you have every right to leave. And I know it sounds impossible, especially with the economy we live in. Like, you just need the job just to
get
eat.
things going.
Exactly, just to get by. If you can, during that time, give yourself, like, I love putting time limits on things. Like, I will say, okay, by this time next month, I should have gotten this and this and this and this done. So just put yourself out there. And also, try to be a better person to yourself. Self-care is also very important.
Yes. All right, Jide, final thoughts, final words.
Well, firstly, thanks for inviting me on the show. It's been quite interesting hearing from young people what the issues are in the workplace. I think that you've addressed from personal angle, so I'm not going to dwell more on that from the individual level. I'm going to go a bit up to the manager level and still say the same word, be kind. And then go directly to the organizational level to say that, firstly, as you said, get professionals to do certain things, put the right processes in place. For example, your recruitment, because if you are not a cultural fit to the organization, you shouldn't be brought in. Because when you come in, you struggle to fit in. So have the right recruitment process in place. 2, performance management is one of the biggest problems in organizations. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
What's my KPI?
Yeah, what's my KPI? What's my job description? I don't know. But yet, at the end of the year, you say I didn't perform well. Let's perform well. So spend some time investing in that. Then culture. There are a lot of components of culture. If I was to break down culture and the aspect of culture, we would not have the time for that today. But get people to actually look at your culture, do some cultural assessments, employee engagement assessments, and actually start to solve those problems for you from the organizational point of view. And then for individuals, let me just add a bit to that. You have to love yourself. I like the part of the Bible that says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. Like, it's very important, because if you don't love yourself, there's no how you can actually appropriately love somebody else. So you have to, and loving yourself means that you take your mental health serious. It means that if a boss is getting you, and I like the part of self-reflection, actually assess yourself to say, am I giving my best? If I'm giving my best, then thumbs up. If you're not giving your best, and then there are pointers to know that. For example, when my managers leave the former company I was in, they wanted me to go with them. So for me, that was, and then I was testing the waters. Go out there and test your knowledge. If you say you are good at your job and they're not promoting you, apply. Apply, do interviews. By the time you get jobs, it reminds you that you're still valuable, and that also gives you some confidence to say, you know what? Exactly. Some people are even scared to apply. So test the waters. Test the waters. If you get these jobs, they encourage you, and even the company that say, no, we don't value you, they'll be the one saying, we'll increase your salary.
Okay, so what can we do? What can we do to make you stay?
Exactly, and that's the kind of question you want to have. So if you build your confidence, it's very easy, because that's within your control. It's very easy for you to then assess how you relate to the external factors. And this is something that I did for myself. Like, when I saw that I wasn't getting what I want, went out there, got different job offers, and I looked at them, like, I don't like this company. Like, I'll send some email to a company, and I'm like, are you auditing us? I'm like, no, I'm being, you didn't put in hours I have to work. So
yes, it's important. So it's not just what can you do for us, it's more like what can you also do for me?
And the conversation is changing, actually. For a lot of organizations, they don't know. The conversation is changing. The conversation is changing from what can you do for us to employees asking what can you do for me?
It's not why should
and so if organizations are not ready, the turnover rates in a lot of organizations are going out of the roof.
It's crazy.
And you're not just competing with local companies, you're competing with international.
Multinational.
People want to earn in dollars.
Yes.
So they want to now manage your naira. They want to now manage your naira. You're not doing shakara. You're not doing workplace. They will leave you. They will leave you. So get people in to do the right thing and ask your people truly, how can we help? You need people to deliver on your objective. You need to ask them, how can I help you? Because if I help you, you can deliver on my objective.
And not just asking. Apply it. When you've asked the questions and you found a solution, apply it. Because it's not just every time you do, it's time for appraisal, it's time for assessment.
People want to grow.
And people want to grow, and you're not doing anything about it. So So always ensure that when you ask them and they've told you what exactly they want,
once they get it done.
Get it done.
Yeah.
I just remembered a trait. He mentioned a word, and it was like a toxic trait. When I got the job, so my first day, the boss is like, so I just want you to know, at this company, we actually have a high employee turnover. That should already
Red flag.
That should have clicked that, okay,
Run.
So I'm like, wow, okay. Now I'm actually thinking back. And
those
I'm
are
like,
signs.
I did not deserve half of what.
In this place, we are a family.
No.
I think I posted something on LinkedIn where I said a workplace is not a family. A workplace is a community with a defined objective. It's a community because you all have a singular common goal.
Yeah.
But it is not a family. You are not my brother, you are not my sister. You are my colleague or my boss. That family thing. I love to say, once you tell me you're a family, is a red flag.
Red flag.
We are not family.
Is already off,
nah,
like,
man,
yeah.
we are not family. Blood is thicker than water. Let's keep it that way.
Let's leave it as water for now. Or maybe juice. Let's leave it as
So
juice.
we say it's juice.
Juice.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Jide. Thank you so much, Kassie. Thank you so much, Victoria. It was fun having you guys on. And even though I'm not really in the workspace,
the boss space.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Little by little, we'll definitely get there. Thank you so much, guys, for
Thank you
watching
for
this
having us.
episode. Thank you so much to my guests for taking out time out of their busy schedules. These people, they are making money in dollars.
Amen.
No, security issue. I'm not making money in dollars.
Not yet.
Thank you so much, guys, for being here with us. Thank you so much, guys, for also watching. If you've got any comments about your workplace, is your workplace conducive? Is it toxic? Please share with us in the comment section. Let's hear from you. Things that you would like your bosses to change, your employers to change, what you want them to do that will make your workplace conducive. And are you happy with your job? Are you happy? Why are you staying? Is it the money? What is motivating you to stay? Please share with us in the comment section. My name is Bisola Aiyeola, and from me, it's what? Au revoir. Mwah.